Hey, good morning, everybody. We're coming to you live from my craft room in Texas. This is Janet, and I am live here with a special guest, and we are from Memory Bound, and we're super excited to see you. We're going to be talking about sketches today. So, Bailey, we're going to flip the camera around here. I am coming to you live from my craft room with my daughter, Bailey, and I am super, super excited to be here. And even more happy to have her with me, because there are a few things better in life than having your daughter in your craft room. So Bailey is on spring break this week, so I wanted to see if I could grab her this morning to do our video, and in fact she said yes. So Bailey, do you want to tell us anything about yourself?
Sure. Like I said, my name is Bailey. I have been living here in Texas now for like 9 years. I am a middle school band director, and like she said, we're on spring break right now, and it's great to have them down here in the area close to us now. I can just drive over and have coffee and whatnot.
Right. So. And she was the one who helped me set up my craft room, which was wonderful. And how was that process, Bailey?
It's good. We like IKEA. We live really close to IKEA, so it was good to go and like shop around and help pick out stuff and put it all together.
We live dangerously close to IKEA, and I think I could even go there on my own.
Yeah, I think you did.
Probably, yeah. So Bailey helped me set up all my shelving units and all of that, and I'm super, super excited about that. So I see we have lots of people signing on. Hello, good morning, everybody. Super excited to be here. Even more excited to have this girl with me. So I think that's it for that part of the introduction. I do have a few other things to share. So I'm going to turn the camera over to Bailey, and we have a few announcements before we get started. First of all, we are in the middle.
1 second. There we go.
Do we have any questions, I guess, before we get started, Bailey?
We are good. Just had to flip the camera.
Alrighty. Bailey's going to put the camera in a holder here, so
bear with us for a second.
I feel really good about my videographer this morning because she is of a different generation. And those of you of a certain age know, younger people do better with this kind of thing. So I think we are good. Are we in good shape? Mm-hmm. All right. So we have a few announcements before we get started, everyone. We are in the middle of our Distress Ink March Madness. Well, I guess I shouldn't say we're in the middle because we just started. And thank you guys for participating. Everybody's been so excited about this competition. If you are not voting, please vote. It's not too late to get started. We are voting on different combinations of inks, distress inks, and there are 16 combinations of distress inks, and they are all competing to get to the final four, which will be super fun. And now we're going to have the announcement of our winners from yesterday's brackets. And this is perfect for spring break, Bailey. Mm-hmm. The two winners from yesterday, if you want to go ahead and show this, are Tequila Sunrise and Toes in the Sand. Those were the two most popular combinations from yesterday. So yay, and thank you to everyone who voted. I love those. And I was telling Kelly this morning, perfect for spring break. Mm-hmm. If you're on spring break.
Springy, very pretty.
Absolutely. Yeah. So these are great combinations. If you have these combinations in your stash, use them on a card. I think that would be super fun, or on a layout. And if you don't have these combinations in your stash, this is a perfect time to stock up because we are offering 15% off of distress inks through March 22nd. So it's a perfect time to stock up and complete your collection. So today we're going to be voting on two new combinations, and they are posted on our Facebook page. So after this video, you'll want to go out to the Facebook page and make your choices. There are two brackets to vote in today, and Kelly, after the video, will post those, and you can go there, and all you have to do is tell us your favorite.
Looks like we have a correction too from Kelly of the winners of Boo to You from our crew and Toes in the Sand.
Oh, that's right. I just made a mistake, didn't I? It was Boo to You from our crew. Oh my goodness. I guess I got so excited about spring break
Yeah,
that I picked those too. Boo to you from our crew. Sorry about that, you guys.
Well, that one's really pretty too, so.
They're all really pretty. So, I mean, how can you go wrong? Sorry about that, you guys. So the winners are Toes in the Sand and Boo to You from our crew. Do I have that right, Kelly? Or
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So much pressure. Now, let's see. Today we are going to be voting on Superhero versus Riverbank and Tequila Sunrise versus Earth, Wind, and Fire, I believe.
Yes, it says you can vote for Tequila Sunrise today.
Yes. I got excited. I got overly excited about Tequila Sunrise. Not my
Predicting
drink.
the future.
Not my drink of choice, but still good. All right. Let's see. What else do I have to announce? I want to make sure that I go through all of these things. That's it, I think, for announcements for this morning. If you have any questions at all as we're talking today, just post them in the comments. Bailey, I think, is going to be really good at catching those comments, and we will pause and answer any questions that you have. And let me just ask if there's anything before we get started. Thanks to everybody for jumping on this morning.
Looks like we are good to go.
We're good to go. It's so much fun to be able to do live videos from my craft room. So I'm like super excited. I've been working in this craft room since, probably January. We got it all set up, and I have to say that I really love it. And compared to my old craft room, Bailey, what are your thoughts?
I think it has a lot more like storage capability. Like, I know we already did the craft room tour, but like all of the IKEA stuff is super accessible as opposed to having it in a closet, which is always really well organized before, but just having everything super accessible. And of course, like, you know her, she's always very organized, so everything is nicely labeled and everything. And it all looks, it's very easily accessible. And I think it's what's cool about her space now is that it's kind of open to the lower level. So, we always used to joke about her being up in her little craft hole, but now she's up and can actually interact and kind of be doing two things at once, which is fun.
If you want to just pan over there,
Sure.
Bailey, this particular room is called a Texas basement, and you can see over
Are we
this
going over the
ledge.
balcony?
We're going to go over the balcony. You can see over the ledge to downstairs, which is great because if I want to interact with the spouse who's downstairs, I can just talk and he can hear me and I can hear everything going on. So it's, as Bailey said, it's a lot more, I feel like a lot more part of the
house.
Part of the action. Yeah, not so much isolated. So that is a really good thing. So I was concerned when we moved here that I wouldn't love my craft room as much as my old one, but I love it in different ways. So it's been really, really fun to be in a new space and kind of reassess where I am with things. And I've really loved it and appreciated Bailey's help in setting it up so far. So any questions before we jump into what's going on today, Bailey?
Not yet.
All right, and I do have to apologize for my voice, you guys. There is something in the air here in Texas.
It's pollen season.
It's pollen season, and you guys, I am not used to pollen in February, and I think I'm going on 3 weeks with this crud. I think it's cedar pollen.
It's a lot of stuff in the air, and it doesn't go away for a while.
No, I'm told that it goes on for what, weeks, months?
Yes, quite a while.
So this could be a while. So my voice, if it gives out, I apologize in advance. I'm going to do the best I can. So I guess this is just a way of life here in the South.
But the weather is nice. It is 64 degrees here, so we can't complain with a high of 80 today. So
not complaining at all. And you guys, I have been in sandals and shorts, and I promise you I would not be in sandals and shorts in Iowa. So we've got that going for us. So now I want to jump into what we are doing today. And I have to say, I am super, super excited about this. And Bailey, if you want to just zoom in on this. This is a sketch sheet that Peggy and I came up with, and we do have this available for download. It has 3 layout sketches at the top, and we'll talk more about those in just a bit, that are from Peggy's designs, and 3 simple card sketches at the bottom, which are from card sketches that I have used in the past. And we have all of these available on a download. on our website, and I think Kelly will probably link that. And you can download those and you can play along with us. So over the next 2 days, I'm today and Peggy is tomorrow, we are doing a sketch collaboration. And I want to tell you how this all came about. First of all, Peggy, you all know that she's a scrapbooker extraordinaire. And in a recent video, I think it was sometime in February, she was sharing all of her beautiful layouts. And it came up in the video chat that, gosh, wouldn't it be fun if we made a sketch from Peggy's layout? And so we did. I said, well, that would be really fun. So I took Peggy's layouts, and I'll show you which ones they were, and I made 3 sketches based on her original layouts. And these were so much fun to do. But I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if instead of using these for layouts, if I took Peggy's layout sketches and turned them into cards? So Peggy and I were chatting about that, and we got the idea that she could take some of my card sketches and turn them into layouts. So does that make sense, everybody? So instead of using the sketches the way they were intended, we flipped them around. So I'm using Peggy's layout sketches to make cards. Tomorrow she'll be on, and she's using my card sketches to make layouts.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
We are super excited about this. And what Peggy and I want to really drive home, I guess, today in our collaboration is just the versatility of sketches. And you know, sometimes, and Bailey, I don't know if you can relate to this, you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over, and you kind of get yourself in a crafting rut where you feel like, oh gosh, I think I'm making that same card design over and over. Does anyone feel like that? Definitely give us a thumbs up if you have felt in a rut. But using a sketch can help push you ever so gently out of that rut and give you some new ideas. So you can
change it based on the season too, like regardless of the same layout could work for any time of year.
Absolutely. You can easily replicate and copy them. And the thing I love about sketches is they don't really have an expiration date. You know, they're not like your yogurt that might expire. They are good no matter when you use them. And what's remarkable to me about sketches, even if you use an older sketch, but with newer product, it really doesn't look dated in any way. So I want to show you some examples of that today. So first of all, we are going to talk about the card sketches that I have here. We're going to start with those, and then we will talk about Peggy's layout sketches. So just to the point that I was making about no expiration date on sketches, these sketches are from 2021. And so if you took my Happy Christmas class in 2021, these sketches will seem familiar to you. And I wanted to use these sketches, give them to Peggy to work with because, number one, they're a little bit older, and I wanted to show that it doesn't matter how old the sketch is, you can make it look new and fresh. So first of all, Peggy is going to show these tomorrow with her layouts, but I wanted to show you how I have used these sketches to make cards before we jump into the layout portion. So if you took this class back in 2021, which seems like a long time ago, these are the original cards that I made with each sketch. So sketch A, sketch B, and sketch C. The first 2 cards are designed to be used with cut-aparts, which many of us love cut-aparts. Bailey, do you know what cut-aparts are?
I don't know what a cut-apart is. Can you tell us?
Yes, I will. Let me grab one real quick. Cut-aparts are...
It's a really cute design, by the
Well,
way.
thank you. Thank you. And they're so easy. Let me find a sheet of cut-aparts. I know I have them. Okay, here's a sheet of cut-aparts. We call them cut-aparts because you cut them apart.
That's what I figured, but I didn't want to be wrong, you know.
Right. So these are 3x4, and this one is 4x6. And all manufacturers, when they produce a new line, most of the time they're giving us a sheet of cut aparts. People love them because if you do pocket scrapbooking, a cut apart can slip down in the pockets, and you remember what the pockets are, the plastic sleeves that have dividers for different sizes. So the 3x4 and 4x6 can slip down into a pocket sleeve. Or if you're a card maker, they are making a lot of cut aparts so that they fit perfectly on the front of cards. So for instance, this one says best wishes. You could actually cut apart this cut apart and make it into two, but this would be perfect on the front of a card. So I created these two sketches to work with cut aparts, which we often have. And then this one I created to work with strips of paper, which again, if you're a crafter, you know you've got a bunch of strips of paper.
Good for scraps and stuff.
Scraps. So if you have scraps to use, for sure, that's a great design to use for that. So that's the original sketch that I wanted to show you guys. I'm just going to set this to the side. Bailey knows I can make a mess faster than no one, faster than anyone,
I think
for
any
sure.
crafter can, for
Oh
sure.
my goodness, yes. So what I did for these first three sketches, again, Peggy's going to use these tomorrow to create some layouts, but I wanted to show you when you update the product that you're using, you can create something entirely new from the sketch. So this is the original sketch. This is the original card. And then for today, I made this little sample. Just find a better background. I made this little sample using a 3x4 cut apart. But as you can see, I didn't follow the sketch exactly. I rotated it instead of going like this.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I would never have thought to rotate it.
Well, it's so easy. And all of a sudden you've got something entirely new. So for this sketch, I cut off the side of the card, which you've seen us often do, turned it, and then this was a 3x4 cut apart that I just cut down. And so with a sketch, you don't have to follow the design in exactly the way it was created, but you can almost always rotate it. So that's the first one I wanted to show everyone.
Mary asks if I am crafty like my mom. Yes and no. I do not have the paper crafting gene, or maybe I would
You
if I
do.
exercised it, but
Yes.
I do a lot of fiber crafting, so I'm an avid knitter. So
Oh.
the fiber art skipped her but came to me, and so she does the paper and I do the yarn.
You know, I'm a firm believer, you have to find your own medium. And that is what Bailey is most comfortable with, and she is a fabulous knitter, you guys. I wish I had some of her stuff to show you, but she's really, really good. She makes sweaters, scarves,
Lots of stuff.
all kinds of things, and I am the recipient of some of it. So.
Sometimes.
So these three cards that I'm showing you today were made with the Make-A-Wish Birthday Boy collection, and you can see I've practically used up my pad. But if you love this collection and are looking for some birthday cards, we have a new kit coming out with this line, and we'll be going to be launching it on March 19th. So, and it will be birthday cards for everyone, not just boys. But these are cards that I made with the scraps that I had left over. So you'll be able to make these cards too. So this is the second sketch. And again, like I showed you before, this was what it looked like originally. So it had a cut apart and another 3x4 piece and then two strips at the bottom. And instead of leaving the card as is, I cut it off to make a square card. And I think this is really a fun idea if you want to make something a little bit smaller. In this case, I had a whole bunch of these 3x3 cut aparts, which came out of the Birthday Boy pad. And when I have a square cut apart, I like to cut my card base down to square also.
Parallel it.
Exactly. And so that's one thing that I did to change up the sketch. Instead of the full A2 size, I cut it down. And then otherwise, I pretty much followed the sketch as is.
This one here.
It
right?
is, yeah. So super easy, and literally I just was using scraps out of this. One thing that I like to do, if I don't have a lot of small embellishments, I will just throw in a die cut star or two. And stars are really handy for birthday cards or masculine cards or anything like that. So I just keep my star dies out, and I just will cut a few from my leftovers. And this little guy here is a circle punch that I just cut in half. It's a 1.5-inch circle. And I like to use that shape too.
It's like a little peekaboo circle thing.
Yeah, kind of like, thank you. If you had like a little tab sticking up, instead of using a tab, I sometimes like to use a circle punch.
And these are?
These are enamel dots. And if you are looking for enamel dots, this one matches really nicely. It's not from the same collection. It's from the Little Boy collection. And look, there's hardly any left.
I was going to say, it probably comes with a few more on the sheet, but
Yes,
it is well loved.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I have used almost all of those. But yeah, they're super, super cute. And I love this bright collection. It's suitable for literally anybody, not just boys, not girls. It can go for adults too. So I love using the enamel dots. You don't have to wait for them to dry. And I like to use the different sizes and the different colors too.
Yeah, that's very cute.
One tip about enamel dots is typically I will put just a little bit of liquid glue underneath them just to make sure that they stay in place. Any questions before we move on, Bailey?
Not yet.
All right. And so this card, I'm losing my stuff here. This card here, this last sketch, is one that I love to make. And if you've been around me a while, you know that I love strip cards because they're a great way to use up your leftover scraps. So this particular one uses 3 strips that are all 1 inch, and then I just cut them to different lengths. And it kind of just depends on, you know, what my mood is. And then there's something here, which can be square or rectangular, and then some piece of greenery over here. And then this piece is just another 1 inch strip. So if you've got scraps and leftover ephemera, this is a super, super handy design to use.
Cool, because that's kind of like a fall theme leaf, and then you can update it for Christmas. You could do a spring flower or something.
Exactly. And
make it seasonal.
Exactly. That's the versatility of a sketch. And here, I didn't use any leaves at all. This one, I just used the birthday paper, 3 leftover strips, because, you know, when you're working with a pad of paper, you always have leftover strips. So I cut 3 here and then an additional one for the horizontal strip. And then this is a 2x2 cut apart from the pad, which I had left over. And then I felt like I needed something to kind of pull in all the colors. So I just added 3 die cut stars. So
see, I didn't even notice it was the same card.
Really?
No.
See?
Maybe that says more about me than you.
No, see, this is a real life example.
Real life example of unskilled.
You can fool the recipient.
Yes. You probably sent me the same card over and over, and I didn't.
I probably have. I love it. Yeah, that's possible. But what I wanted to share with you is it doesn't matter if you have older sketches. If you update them with new product, they're going to totally look new. So, and again, Peggy is going to be using these 3 sketches tomorrow, not to make cards, but she turned them into layouts. And I got a sneak peek of what she's doing, and it is truly amazing. So she took this, kind of blew up the format into 12 by 12, and she turned them into really, really beautiful layouts. So that, I think, speaks to the versatility of sketches. They don't have to be used for cards. They don't have to be used as is. They can even be used for other things. So let me kind of stop and make sure that we don't have any questions, or see if we do have questions before we go on. What are our viewers saying? Any comments or thoughts?
Lots of good mornings. Diana says that enamel dots are perfectly round, unlike the Nouveau drops. So you get kind of that more perfect circle look.
I love Nouveau drops, but there are times when we just don't have time for Nouveau drops to dry. So sometimes it's really nice to be able to use the enamel dots and not worry about the shape or whether they're going to get squished or smeared. or something like that. Very good. Well, let me kind of come around here to the other side, and I want to talk to you about these layout sketches. You guys know, I'm going to come around here, Bailey.
Wrong side.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm attached to you.
We are attached. We are
Let's go
attached
this
by
way.
cords, and I just have wound her around the table.
No, we're fine. We're good.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Hang on, you're standing on the cord.
Oh,
all right.
gosh.
There we go. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. You know, it's great to have her here because who knows what kind of pandemonium would be happening otherwise. So, well, just a word about Peggy. You guys know she is a scrapbooker extraordinaire, and Peggy's work is just really next level. And so it's been so much fun to collaborate with her on this project, and we both love sketches, and we are both super excited to see what we could do with them. And I think I speak for Peggy when I say we're both inspired, and we hope that it's inspiring to you as well. So again, back to where we started with this, and if you've been watching our video, you probably will remember this. Back in January, Peggy shared a bunch of Valentine's kind of themed layouts. One of them was this one, which is a love theme for her and her husband. Absolutely love this layout. And it came up in the video that, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we turned this layout into a sketch? And the advantage of that is it takes all the themed items out and kind of helps you see how you can use that sketch for other occasions or themes. So what I did was I took Peggy's original love layout and I broke it down into its most basic elements and created this little sketch out of it. I didn't follow it exactly, but I was trying to capture kind of the essence of it. So the gist of this sketch is it's got a wide panel down the center, and then it's got two narrower panels down the sides. And so I do have measurements on the sketch. If you wanted to create this for a layout, it tells you what size to cut your panels if you were doing a layout. And then Peggy has two smaller wallet-sized photos here. Her title is here, and then she's got these beautiful embellishment clusters. I don't know if you can see those really well, Bailey, but the layers of those embellishments are what really make it eye-catching, I think. And you can see here Peggy used hearts. In my sketch, I just used circles, just to show you these could be anything. They could be leaves, they could be circles, they could be stars, whatever you've got.
Well, and I love that you have the dimensions on all of the things. That makes it super easy. Yes. So you're not trying to guess proportionally. Everything's just very clearly, you know exactly how to cut everything.
Yes, well, thank you. Yeah, for layouts, I did. Now, when I translated this into cards, I did not give you the exact layout or the exact dimensions.
Some dimensions.
Well, yes, for these, but
sure.
For this one, when we translate this into a card, I didn't give you the exact dimension, but I wanted people to kind of follow the
essence of it.
The essence, the spirit. Yeah. There, back when you did mock trial, I don't know if anybody has kids who did mock trial, there was something that we learned about called the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And the letter of the law is when you follow everything precisely. The spirit of the law is when you kind of follow, as you said, the essence or sort of the general overall vibe of something. So, and that's I hope there are no attorneys watching because that was a
loose term.
A very loose definition. But that's what I wanted to do with the sketches when I used them on cards, is just not follow the letter of the law, but more follow the spirit. So let me show you the cards that I made with Peggy's layout. So this is the first one. Let's start with this one. So what I did on this one, as you can see, first of all, I rotated it. So instead of the panels at the side, I put the panels on the top and the bottom. And that right there is something that I don't usually do in card making. And so right there, I'm out of my normal, routine, and I've added something to the top and the bottom. when I was making the card, I set it up like this, just like this, but then I decided to rotate it. And then I also, for this particular collection, didn't have a lot of small things to use. I didn't have a lot of die cuts or small stickers. So instead of using hearts or circles, I used greenery to kind of flow out to this side and to the other side. So I used greenery here and greenery here. Again, just to follow the general line. It's not exact, but it follows the general line.
And it looks like you trimmed the corners asymmetrically also.
I did, yeah. I love to use my corner
rather.
rounder. Yeah, and that is a really great way to add just, oops, I just dropped my ink pad. To add just a little bit of interest to a card front. And sometimes I just like doing asymmetrical corners because I think it helps kind of mimic the shape here, this diagonal line. So I've got the upper left one and the lower right one. And here, the other thing is when you're translating a layout into a card, you probably aren't going to be using a photo. I mean, you could, but in most cases not. So what I had to work with were sentiments with text on them. So I stacked 3 up here to kind of mimic this vertical line of the photos. Again, it's not exact, but Peggy's layout inspired this card, which is, again, something I don't think I would have created had I not had Peggy's sketch. So while you just focus on this a second, Bailey, I'm going to run over here and make sure my ink pad didn't land upside down.
Well, and I love that you rotated it again too. Like I said, I would not have thought to just rotate it, but just simply like turning the card gives you a whole other set of options.
It does give a completely different look, doesn't it? Which to me is one of the examples of how versatile sketches can be. And you guys may recognize this paper line that I used for the particular cards that I'm showing you now. It is from Photoplay, and it's called In Loving Memory. And in April, which hard to believe, Bailey, it's almost April, I'm going to be doing a card kit with this very collection. And the cards that I'm showing you today are extras that I made with that collection.
Question before you move on.
Sure.
From Pamela, what greenery are these big leaves here that you've got?
I am so glad you asked. Those are beautiful. And you guys, I bought this at Christmas time and I hadn't used it yet. This is the Tim Holtz Festive Gatherings greens. And they are awesome. Let me pull these out here so you can see how big they are.
Can you see the title?
Yeah, Festive Greens. And Kelly should be able to link that for you also. It's 666333.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah, but look how big they are, you guys. This is bigger than any greenery that I had in my collection of dies. So what I like about it is it just really covers a lot of space. And then this one too. And you've got extra little pieces that you can layer on top. So I think this is going to be super fun. I bought this before we moved and hadn't had a chance to use it. So, hey, this was a great excuse. So that is the first card that I was inspired to make using Peggy's design. So for the next card, what I did was I kept the design the same, so I put the decorative panels down the side and I still had the panel in the middle, so I followed the sketch for that part, but then I didn't use the entire embellishment portion at the bottom. I scooted it off to the right and I only used this portion over here. So my piece, which represents the title, is moved off to the right, and then I just cut it off. And then over here is my greenery.
Are those little pink things part of the die cut too?
They are. So those little berries.
I guess that's what those are. I don't know what they are.
technical term berries,
pink
things.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, are part of the berries, or part of the greenery. So you can cut those separately and then just glue them on to layer them, which is really, really fun. So again, this design was something that I don't think I probably would have made on my own. I wouldn't have thought to make it, but looking at Peggy's sketches, it just inspired me to create something new. And what I did with the sticker, instead of just putting the sticker down flat, I also matted it with a stitched circle, which I think is fun and it really helps it stand out. So that's another example of what you can do with a layout sketch. And I think I have another one. I do. I got carried away with this sketch. So this is an older collection. We have been to Disney a few times, right?
5 or so, 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, and I have scrapbooked all of those trips, but had a lot of leftover Disney product, and so I just keep that in my card stash. And I have made a lot of cards with Disney paper because I think it works really well, especially for like birthdays.
Like a great kid's birthday card.
Yeah, that would be super fun. So again, I used Peggy's design, this sketch here, and for this one, as you can see in the original design, it has the decorative panels down the side, but again, I rotated it. This time I put a tag to represent this part here, and then these pieces here with the hearts, I used just a combination of circle punches and stars.
Oh, that's really cool. Like, I like the layering, and then is that a pop dot underneath it?
It is, yeah. You know I love my pop dots. I do. So I popped up a few elements, and then here, this is something you probably haven't seen, Bailey, since you've been in my craft room. One of the cool tools that we all love is this diagonal corner punch, and it's just really fun for creating.
Yeah.
You have used it. Oh, that's right, when we made those
tags.
Yeah, they're perfect for tags. And so here I notched the corners of this red piece, and it's just something a little different. I think it looks a little more finished on the edges. I numbered my corners. Katie gave us the idea to do that. For the one I use most frequently, it's corner number 1, my second favorite, and then my third favorite. And because when you flip it over, they're in the opposite position, I numbered them on the back too.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I would mess that up for sure.
Yeah, when you turn it over, I'd probably use that one instead. Yeah. So
invert it.
So yeah, I just took a Sharpie and wrote on there. So that is sketch letter A. I wanted to finish another card using that sketch to show you guys how versatile this collection is, or the sketches are. And so I started a card using a collection that I had purchased before we moved, but I hadn't used yet. I didn't send Christmas cards this year, and I think this is probably the first time I haven't sent Christmas cards.
You were busy moving.
We were moving.
You have a fair excuse.
Yes, we were moving. So I had purchased the Holiday Charm collection by Photoplay, which turned out to be kind of a surprise favorite for us. It is absolutely beautiful. So I had bought the stuff, hadn't had a chance to use it. So for this today's demo, I thought, well, you know, I can get ahead on my Christmas cards for next year, and I have like 2 or 3 made now. So
start a stockpile.
That's right. So I'm still following Peggy's original design.
So this is still layout A?
It is. It's still layout A.
A lot of different options.
Yeah. So what I did here, I thought, well, golly, you don't need to use both of these side panels. I just scooted the whole thing over, and I only used one of the side panels. So I just pretended that the sketch was cut off right here. And then that way, I only needed to use part of the sketch. So I layered stickers and die cuts and cut aparts to create the front that sort of mimics the vertical line here, and then I used a combination of smaller things here. And I brought along just a couple of additional things. I brought along a Warm Wishes, and then this is another popped up sticker, and I thought we could just add those here. I think we'll just add this here and then maybe this here. And oops, I guess I didn't stick these down. I guess I better stick them down. So these are little stickers from the sticker sheet that are designed to look like tickets, which I just think those are adorable. And so I just used a combination of red and green. And then we'll put the warm wishes here. We need to have it completely showing. And then let's add in the snowflake. And honestly, I think this card is pretty much done.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Well, thank you. So again, this is just using Peggy's sketch, and I can promise you, I probably wouldn't have thought to do this if not for the inspiration of Peggy's sketch.
Well, and I love the layering of the different stickers. You have a lot. I don't know where you come up with all these ideas. I would just get stuck on the first one.
Well, these are the fun things that we can do, and one of the things that if you like to layer stickers, we like to use the powder tool behind them, and I should have shown you this before. Maybe I can do it. If you use a powder tool in the areas around your pop dot, then that sticker won't get stuck to areas that you don't want it to stick. So that allows you to really pop up stickers nicely. So like this one is a sticker that's been popped up, but I did powder in the other areas. So,
and what is that stick thing?
This is called a powder tool. And we have talked about this a lot, and I think we can link this as well. It's reasonably priced. It's like $7.99, I think, and it's got powder in it when you get it. And then as you run out of powder, this is probably a lifetime supply, but if you would run out, you can refill it with cornstarch or powder that you have. It does have a lid. I have lost the lid. It's hard to get back on anyway, but I've lost the lid, as many of us have.
Well, looks like we've already got it linked.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, so let's move on and talk about Sketch B. And we've done a lot with Sketch A. But Sketch B, let me find my example. For Sketch B,
Do you want the photo?
Yes, Sketch B, thank you. This is Peggy's original layout for Sketch B, and she did this one very recently, and I've got the date. We can take pictures of these so you'll know where to find them on our blog. But she did this one in February for our coffee theme. We've been having a coffee theme at Memory Bound. So this one, she's got a panel of cardstock across the top, and then 2 decorative panels here, and then 3 smaller photos here that are kind of arced, and then some embellishments down here, and then a title up here. So I created a sketch using the general idea of that layout. So again, we've got the panel across here. I've got the measurements if you wanted to recreate this as a layout, and then the wallet photos and the title. So for my sketch, this is what I came up with for the first example. I used the same topper at the bottom and top, and what I did just to make this really easy, this is a complete panel that goes the whole distance of the card. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of pattern paper. I just simplified that and just put a whole piece down the front of the card, and then this is a white cardstock piece that just goes across the top. And instead of photos, I just cut small pieces of pattern paper, which worked really nicely because I had a lot of leftovers. And
a good way to use up scraps.
Exactly. And then here, this is just a cut apart that is matted. And I didn't feel like I needed to do anything up here, so I just copied parts of the sketch. I didn't necessarily use the title. I didn't copy it verbatim, but I just wanted to capture the essence. But I really liked using the kind of fanned out pieces of paper. That was super fun. So that was the first idea. And I brought along. I didn't travel
I don't know
far.
where you brought it.
I brought it
from the
that,
cupboard to the table.
I brought it from that side of the table to here. Yeah, I didn't have to travel far today, did I?
Short commute.
So for this one, I wanted to show you, you don't have to follow every part of the sketch. So here on this card, what I wanted to do was put together the sketch, but not use any of the background. So let me show you what we're gonna do. I decided to turn it horizontally like this. In this case, I cut my rectangular pieces a little bit bigger than I did in the previous one. And again, I didn't give you measurements because I think you can kind of interpret this however works for whatever product you want to use. So,
and that's an adhesive dot roller that
yeah,
you're using?
this is my favorite repositionable adhesive. This one happens to be from Scrapbook Adhesives. What I love about it, and Bailey, you probably remember this from our crafting times, you can just rub it off. If you don't like where you put your adhesive, you can just rub it with your finger and check it out.
It's super helpful, especially if you're like me and you go out of the color outside the lines.
Right, we all do that, or we change our mind about where something's going to go. So in this case, you can see Peggy put her center photo on top of the other two. But here I just kind of fanned it out. So you can do whatever you want with those three pieces. You don't have to be, completely faithful to the sketch. Here, to represent this piece, I had a circular sticker, and I just cut another die cut circle for the background. And I'm just going to add this to the center of the card. Check it out, it's coming together, huh? And then with that same greenery die, the Festive Gatherings, I die cut several pieces, and aren't those pretty? I think those are
really cool.
Really, really pretty.
And then you layered the red on top of the white again.
I did. So those are some of those berries. Yeah, and I'm just going to use my roller, which I wouldn't normally do with this, but just for the interest of time, I'm just using my tape runner under this.
Did you chalk that too, or is that just colored paper?
I did. I used my Distress ink, and I'm so glad you mentioned that. I used my Distress ink in Gathered Twigs. You can see it's been well loved.
It's distressed.
It is distressed, yeah. And so this is, again, we're promoting our Distress inks this week, or until the 22nd, and we've got 15% off all of those. So yeah, just to add a little bit of that
depth of color.
Right, exactly. So here, and again, I would probably use liquid glue if this were real life. But
sometimes you don't want to wait for it to dry.
Right. You don't need to watch me do that. And then I've got these two other greenery pieces. And you guys, I think this card is almost done. And I promise you, I wouldn't have thought to do this if not for Peggy's sketch. And see what I did there? I just thought it was too long, so I just tore that guy so he fits a little better. And I think this is a card I would send.
It's really cute.
I'm going to just tear this because I don't need all that length. And I'm just going to tuck that in here. And I think this card is ready to send. So now I've got 2 Christmas cards done for next year.
You're almost ready.
I'm almost ready. So, but again, for this particular card, I did not use the background. I just was inspired by this portion of the sketch. So if you see a sketch, you do not have to follow it precisely. Just choose the parts that inspire you and work with those. So I'm going to set that aside. We are making a lot of cards today, and I love it. And let's see, I have one more to show you guys, which I think you're going to love. And you guys might remember this. When Peggy did her demo, it was in February. She did a demo about reading and books, and her work is absolutely beautiful. So she put together like a quilted background, and then she hand stitched around this.
Oh, it's very cute.
It's amazing. She does hand stitching, not machine stitching on her layouts, but hand stitching. So I created a sketch based on Peggy's layout, and Peggy used 16 squares in her layout, so 4 across and 4 down, and they were 2¼ inches. And luckily I had written that on the blog, so we knew what size that was. And so I digitally drew a stitch line around here. And then you can see Peggy used a similar idea for her photos against that backdrop, which I really love. That gives a really fun backdrop, and it's a great way to use leftover pieces of paper that you would have. So fun sketch, and I think this could work for so many things. So, but I thought, you know, what can I do for a card with this sketch without having to cut 16 squares, right? Because that seemed like a lot. So I thought, well, one thing you can do is you can simplify the idea. So here, I just used 4 squares instead of 16. I just made
like a window pane effect.
Yeah, kind of the same idea, but a simplified version of it. So these squares, let me grab my ruler, which I think I've dropped. I think they're 2-inch squares, which I'll show you what I used to cut them. Yeah, oh, excuse me, they're about 1 and a little over 1.5. Cut those from pattern paper, and again, this was from the In Loving Memory. And to make it easy, I used the stacked rectangle or stacked square dies. And if you guys don't have these are a great investment. All of the stacked tile dies are super handy to have. And Bailey, you might not have seen these before.
I don't know. Whoopsie, hold on. Sorry, we just flipped the camera.
Are we good now?
We're good. We just saw my hand for a minute.
So with these sets, you get 5 identical sets of shapes, and it's super handy if you're going to create a card like this or a card with 16 squares, because you can take out all the same size and you can cut 5 of them at once, which is very handy, and you'd be surprised how much time that saves you. So you can run all of those through your die cutting machine at once. So for this, I just did 4 for the background. And then instead of the little wallet photos, I used, again, rectangles of coordinating paper. And for the title, I used a strip of cut apart sentiment. And then up here, since this is a sympathy card, I didn't feel like a banner was appropriate, but I did have a fussy cut butterfly that worked really nicely there. So again, I didn't copy it exactly, but I have sort of the essence.
Cool. And you saved the hand sewing to demonstrate right now, right?
That will be you. Bailey knows I do not sew.
I mean, I think that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Wouldn't that be? Oh, I think we need another, a couple hours? Yeah, I barely got through home ec. That's what's so funny, the fact that she loves to knit. I don't do anything like that, and I just absolutely love seeing that with her, because it's clear that it skipped my generation and went to her. But we do have in our family, Bailey, a lot of ladies who did hand sewing and knitting and crochet and that kind of thing. A lot of seamstresses and fiber artists in our family. I am not one of them, but I'm so glad that you are.
Question from Donna. What storage are you using for stacked dies?
For stacked dies, I am using...
You've got them in the envelope.
I do, yeah, and I'm really glad you asked. So what I use for all of my dies are these Lawn Fawn stamp and die storage envelopes. And so they are just clear. They have a little flap at the top that tucks in. And then my dies, just because I don't want them all falling down loose in the bag, I use these Lawn Fawn magnet sheets. So these are by Lawn Fawn. The bags are by Avery L, and Kelly can link both of those. I think they are even linked on today's calendar. But the Lawn Fawn sheets are magnetic.
Was it Lawn Fawn?
Lawn Fawn.
Okay. I thought it was a French thing, and nope, it's just...
No, it's a fawn on the lawn.
It's a little sheep. Or not a sheep.
It's not a sheep.
Little deer.
It is spring break. It's a little deer on the green lawn, I think.
Cute.
Yeah,
okay.
He's very cute. So I love these magnet sheets, and what's great about them, I'm super glad you asked, is that they fit perfectly down into these sleeves. And then I have them in a storage box. So I keep all of my dies like that. And you can see they hold a lot.
Yeah, Kristen says the magnetic sheets are nice and strong. It looks like
They
they
are.
hold really well. And then you just have them in a box there.
Well, yeah, and this is not normally how I store them. If you want to come over here, I guess we can do this since we are live from my craft room, right?
Yes. Hold on, let me not get tangled.
And I've created a mess on the floor
We
here.
won't look at that part.
Yeah. I have my dies in this is, it's heavy, like a fridge bin that you get from Target. And these, I think, are 4 by 12 or 4 by 11. They're pretty big. And
They've got square sides too, which is helpful.
Yes.
They're 90-degree angles.
Exactly. Yeah. If they're angled, then
You can't stack or you can't store.
Right.
Yeah.
Harder to store.
Well, you can fit like 2 of them side by side.
Exactly. Yeah, which is nice because these IKEA squares, I think, are maybe 13 inches wide. And so 2 of these fit perfectly. So I created a bunch of dividers.
Is that just chipboard?
It's just chipboard, yeah. So I created dividers with chipboard. You can see the chipboard on the back. And then I created labels at the top. And then I just added pattern paper to the bottom. And then I have my dies organized like that. That is surprisingly heavy.
Yeah.
So, but my thin dies and my thicker bigs dies all fit right here. And I love having them like this. I do have a few that have trickled over here that are older, like my Elizabeth Craft dies, and then my thinner ones from way back kind of trickled over into this next cube. But yeah, I love it. I'm super glad you asked the question. All right, and I have one more to show you guys before we wrap up for the day. So I wanted to make a card with more squares. And if you notice with this stacked tile die, there are 5 different, I think there are 5 different sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there are 5 different sizes. And the smallest one is about an inch, maybe a little bit less than an inch. And I thought about this and I thought, well, on a card front, if I wanted to use Peggy's design faithfully, my squares would have to be about an inch to fit onto a panel. So I'd have to be using 1-inch squares, 4 across and 4 down to get 16. Does that make sense, Bailey? Mm-hmm. So, but when I cut my 1-inch squares, they're so small that you really can't see a ton of the pattern on them. So I thought, you know, that just seems like it's going to be too much. So I bumped up the size of my square just a little bit, and I decided to use the squares that are just a little bit bigger. So not this size, but this next size.
While you're doing that, Kelly reminded us that Peggy will be here tomorrow doing these same sketches, but for layouts.
Yes, for layouts. She's using my card sketches tomorrow, and I'm super excited about that. So I decided to use this size, which is a little bit over an inch. And because of that, I could only fit 9, but I thought that would be perfect. So what I did is I cut a square piece of paper, and this, or cardstock, and this measures 4 by 4. I just started with that. And then I cut out 9 different pieces of paper, and this is just an older line from one of my stashes, and I just cut out 9, and I inked them, and I lined them up against the edge of that square. And you can see my square is just a little bit too big, so I'm going to cut that off. And what a fun background this makes for a card. And again, as I said before, I don't think I would have thought to do that if not for Peggy's.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a quilted effect.
It is, and I think
well,
just,
I already said that.
Right, and just adding the ink, I don't know if you can see that each of those squares has been inked.
Adds more dimension and depth to it, for sure.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is put this at the top of the card. Move all this stuff. As I said before, I can make a mess in the shortest amount of time. So
it's part of the process. You got to make the mess.
it is, exactly. So what I'm going to do to interpret Peggy's layout, I'm going to put this at the top, which I think that's super cute. And then I decided, you know, I'm not going to follow Peggy's exactly. I'm just going to use really the background. And then I'm going to add some elements to the top of it, but I'm not going to follow all of this. I'm not going to do this business at the bottom, but check it out. I found this little piece and this little piece.
Oh, those are cute.
How cute. And again, I'm just really using the background. And I had some leftover ephemera. In here, this is an ephemera piece. I'm just going to pull off these mini pop dot lids. I love my pop dots.
And you just cut those in half to fit, right?
Exactly, yeah. I just leave them on the carrier sheet and slice through them with my scissors.
So you cut them before you
Yes, it's
pull them off the
so
thing.
much easier to
That's
do
smarter.
that. Yes, and then we're just going to add this here. I think we need to add some of these to the top. And again, if I were doing this like in real life, this is not real life, I would put a little bit of liquid adhesive underneath those when I was sure of where I wanted them. But I think that is super cute. And that is a fun variation on Peggy's layout. Again, she's got the quilted background, which inspired me. And instead of following all of this precisely, I just added what I had and made it work.
Oh,
So
that's super cute. I love the little chair.
isn't that chair cute? So again, this is older
I have
product.
that chair in my house.
Very cute. It would go with your house. This is older product, and I think this looks totally fine. I would send this card. I always want to make card samples for you guys that I would send myself, and I would definitely send this card. So to me, this is great. This is old product. I can get it used up, and it looks fresh and new when you pair it with a sketch. So let me ask, as we wrap up today, if we have any questions at all from our viewers.
These are a lot of really cute cards and a lot of different ways to reimagine the same concept, but in a lot of different ways, a lot of versatility.
Well, thank you so much. And I hope that this has been helpful for all of our viewers today. Peggy and I both love sketches, and we think that you can just do so much with them. And you can see, hopefully, from today what I've made with just these 3 sketches, you can create so many different things that look fresh and new each time. And remember, tomorrow, Peggy will be back, or will be here tomorrow with her interpretations of my card sketches. I can promise you it's going to be fabulous. She does beautiful work, and having had a sneak peek of what she showed, it's going to be great. So again, you can download the sketch sheet if you want to play along and create some things. And we've got this available for you to print out at home, and we'd love to see what you make. Let me ask if there are any questions before we wrap up. And don't forget to vote for your favorite color combinations for today. Go out to our Facebook page and vote on the posts that are at the top of the page. And we're going to wrap up. Thanks.
Let's see, Peggy says she's loved all the cards you created. They're just amazing, and so thrilled to be able to do this collaboration with you.
Oh, same, Peggy. Much love. I hope it's the first of many collaborations. We've had so much fun, and we are both so inspired. So we will see you guys tomorrow back here at the same time. Thanks so much for joining us.